take care of it, damn it.
You can have it. Okay, it is 7 o'clock. Let me turn this on. It's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the Brookfield Inland Wetlands Commission. Today is Monday, the 27th of January, 2025. My name is Sharon Fox. I act as chair for the commission. To my left is Mr. Tom Keller, who is the vice chairman. Further down, Mr. Rob Scalera, who is an alternate. All three of us will be voting members this evening. Further down is Cassandra Varian, our recording secretary. So if you're speaking tonight, please be sure she gets your name and address before we get going. The Inland Wetlands Enforcement Officer is not with us this evening. So with that, she did not leave me any notes about any of the active sites. So that is that. Enforcement, is there anybody here for 35 Merwin Brook Road? All right, well, that is unfortunate. And 549 Federal Road. This is the property like where Overhead Door is in Brookfield, and there's a little pond there that's just south, and there was some work done without a permit, and the property owner is ill.
Yes.
So he asked that we hold this until his health is better, which looks like it's going to be early February. So that is, excuse me, that is that on enforcement and active sites. Again, I didn't see anything. Let me just jump back here. I think I looked at, just to double check, 505 Federal Road. Does everybody have that in their package and I'm missing it?
505 or 500A?
500A. Sorry, 500A. I would assume it's good because there hasn't been anything really happening here except for the snow.
Nope.
Yeah, okay, here we go. 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. I think we talked about this. Oh, we talked about this one the last time, so everything is all good. Just wanted to double check. All right, well, with that, let's move on to, we do not have any public hearings for today. We do not have any old business, which is rather remarkable. So let us do new business. Let's go to W-25-3, South Lake Shore Drive, replace a septic system. Again, you're going to be speaking name and address of this address, please.
Garrett Mead, 28 Maple Tree Road, Brookfield.
Could you spell that really quick? Sorry.
Which, my name?
Yeah.
Garrett, Mead, M-E-A-D.
All right.
Last name is E-A-C, first name Maya, M-A-J-A. And my address is 32 South.
All right, so let's just take a quick look at the application here. We did see the letter of agency. Purpose, replace the existing septic. Previous wetlands applications, no, let's see, disturbed wetland area, 500 square feet.
Approximately, that'd be the area that we've got to disturb just to put in a new septic. It's a pump chamber in the back of the house.
Isn't this up over the 540 line? Or 440, sorry, 440.
Yes.
And there's still wetland soils there?
Well, no, but I guess we're in the floodplain.
You know, that's what I'm asking, because
Yeah.
I had that conversation with the land use office, and if you guys want to sit any place you want, floodplain, unless your soil scientist has identified wetlands soils, floodplains are not always wetland areas. You can have non-wetland soils in floodplains.
I don't understand how the floodplain can rise above the 440 line, to be honest with you. The lake has dams at both ends in Danbury and in Milford.
I've heard that before.
The water's gonna go right over
So-
both dams, and that would be the end of it, so.
Yeah,
But nevertheless, we gotta get it.
well, that's why I said, I think we're gonna update your application, because I don't think you've got wetland soils there.
I don't think so either.
I mean, you almost certainly don't. I mean, there's no wetland soils, I have been on here for 15 years here. There's never been wetland soils on South Lake Shore or North Lake Shore Drive, for that
Well,
matter.
North Lake Shore, out by 18, and there's no.
Oh, yeah, you're right,
wetlands
you're right,
there.
particularly as you turn the corner, you're right, thank you, Garrett. So, I think this application is referring to floodplain, which is not
That's correct.
wetlands soils, is that how you guys filled that out? Or-
Well, it was explained to me that we had to do all this because we were in the floodplain.
You are in the upland review area, so a wetlands permit is required for anything, get my numbers quite right, 200 feet
200
of,
feet from the lake.
from the lake. So your activity does require a permit, so that is correct. But I do not believe that disturbed wetland area is 500. I believe that is 0.
I had it on my application as 0, and they made me change it.
I know that, because I almost always get a chance to stop by the office in the afternoon to say, what are we doing tonight? And it came up, and I'm going, no. So let's fix this, Garrett.
Okay.
And you're the
Okay.
property owner?
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna get rid of 500, this is 0. Okay, so somebody is gonna initial this. You can do it for her. All right, so we'll just make the record, make sure the minutes note, this, that we've corrected the application, that there is no disturbed wetland area. Okay, and total wetlands on the property is 1650.
So what I did was I took, that's all, that floodplain area. I used the GIS mapping with that floodplain line and just did the calculations to come up with that number. So that number, I think you just said
All right.
is also up.
I don't think that's right. That's not right. You guys are okay with all this, right? Yeah. This is 02. There are no wetlands on
I
that.
had it as 0 on my
I know you did. Everybody's trying, you know what?
Yep.
Everybody's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to do the right thing. So that is that. Okay, so what are we doing here? And I'm looking at this map, Gallagher, 122024.
Yes.
Okay, so what's going on?
So the existing septic system is, right now is in the back of the house here. The tank, I'm sorry.
Here's the lake.
I'm looking upside down.
Yeah, you are. There's the lake.
Yeah, the existing tank is in under here right now.
Under the patio?
Yeah, and the existing leach field is right out here in this area,
Okay.
right above the stone wall. So we'll be abandoning that, installing a single pump chamber with a grinder pump that'll send everything up to a settling tank up here by the driveway.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh, my goodness.
yeah.
So you're gotta be trenching to get up here? How are you gonna get that stuff up here?
Yeah, this is just a 2-inch pipe that we have to trench up the side of the house.
Is that on the construction sequence and I didn't see it?
Is that,
Let's see. No. Obtain wetlands permit, get the permit, install the silt fence, install the septic systems according to the plan, which includes a trench,
well,
right? You got a trench, right?
well, this way, but we have to dig a hole.
Well, you gotta dig a
to
hole,
install the
right.
tank, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have trenching for the
Yeah,
new
it's-
piping here.
It's marked there, Joe,
yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah,
on the plan.
on the plan, it's not here though,
Right.
so,
It's not
okay.
on
That's why I put on there according to the plan.
Okay, fair enough. What kind of equipment are you gonna use to dig that trench and that hole? You're gonna have to bring down a big excavator or a bobcat or?
Small mini excavator.
So where's the notes about the trench that you were talking about? Where's the notes?
I don't think that he has a detail on here for the actual trench. This is the tank detail, silt fence detail.
Porous retaining wall?
Yeah, there's no actual detail. It's just a 2-inch Schedule 40 pipe. We did a small trench, 12
I'm,
inches
j-
wide.
here, I'm looking for the right place to write it down, so that, if somebody's driving by and suddenly they see a big excavator there, and they call the land use office say, oh yeah, that's fine, we know about that.
I would suggest right by the notation on the pipe.
Yeah, proposed main with, and I'm sorry, what did you say, a little Bobcat?
It's a mini
A
excavator.
mini, you said mini excavator. To be used, okay. Oh dear, oh, thank you, and so initial that for me, and where's the silt fence?
It's upside down for me, but it should be the dotted line, no?
Well, this says a 440 this points to this as a 440
440
contour,
contour.
I don't see, you wanna flip it around the right side?
Oh,
Yeah.
Number 6.
Do you guys see the silt fence? No, I'm not seeing it?
I'm glancing and I'm not seeing it, like you said, that one is the 440 line, which
Yeah.
is what I originally thought may have been the silt fence.
Let's get it on there,
You want to
Jared.
mark it in there?
Yep.
The slip fence right on the, just above that 440 line there?
Yep. Okay. All right, and then the other thing, install silt fence erosion controls, and you gotta, call land use and secure approvals for that installation, right?
We've been leaving them installed now through the winter till we get grass germination.
All right,
We'll go back and take it out in the spring.
okay. So here's another one, just get all the documentation correct here. I don't see anything else, gentlemen, you guys?
I'm good.
You good? All right. Silt fence, okay. All right, well, like I said, it's new business, and the state says we're supposed to wait 2 weeks, but, because we got a lot of emergency septic repairs, and we wouldn't wanna have them wait 2 weeks, we don't have the people who bring stuff to us with plenty of time, we don't make them wait 2 weeks either. So, I think we should approve this tonight, gentlemen. I can make the motion, you guys, I'll do it. So, I'll make a motion to approve the application W-25-3, for 32 South Lake Shore Drive for the installation of a septic as described on a plan by R.J. Gallagher Associates with an original date of 9/5/24 and a revision 12/20/24 with all the usual stipulations, making note that the plan has been updated to show a silt fence to be installed and approvals obtained before proceeding with the project. A note that a mini excavator is going to be used to dig the hole and to dig the trench, and I think that's it. Did I miss anything? You don't think so?
It's pretty straightforward.
Okay, so that's my motion.
Second.
Tom seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Okay, so you're approved. You'll get a letter, as you know.
How you gonna get that excavator down there?
Slowly.
On the left side. Just open one second.
Oh,
The
little
other side
grass
of the
there.
property, I'm upside down again.
There's a little bit of grass over there.
Yeah, there's one little grass piece coming down the opposite side right there that we can fit. This is, this little tiny, wall on the side is only 6, 8 inches high. We're just gonna hop one track over that and come right down around that side. That's why I think the site's nice all over.
Judging by the activity,
All right.
probably come right across the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, be the best way to
What
do
is
it.
today? Today's the 27th, right?
I could believe there's people out there.
That's like fun.
All right. Good luck with it. Yep, you're welcome. Yep.
Two.
First wetlands meeting?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
No, you live on the lake. It won't be your last. All right, let's put this back. And so, I'm gonna grab another file. So, nomination, elections of officers, that is for our February meeting, so we'll just continue that. No need for a motion. Review of the, no, there is no correspondence. Review of the previous minutes. I only saw two things. I talked to, on line 31. The commission will keep this on the agenda, strike the word indefinitely. We'll keep it on the future agenda till the project, is complete or the commission makes a decision otherwise. And then, I think just a correction on line 108. I think that Connecticut Bar Association meeting is not the 5th of March. I think it's the 22nd or the 21st or something. It's that Saturday. And I know I got something that's happening that day, so I can't go. So other than that, those are the only corrections I saw.
March 22nd.
22nd?
You guys see anything else?
I do not.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with the two corrections.
Seconded.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Okay, we have,
We have a, do we, I know we briefly talked about this, but do we have to ask the selectmen to choose other members for the vacancies on this board?
There were of them, I believe.
I don't know precisely how this Board of Selectmen is proceeding. I know they have the final vote, you know, on who is on, but I can't speak to them about how they source their candidates, if they insist upon them coming from the town committees, or they make phone calls on their own. I don't know how they do it. I know eventually, if you want to get on the commission, you gotta get their agreement. Does that
Yes.
help?
No, I'll just ask them.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, I know, sometimes, because I've seen it happen both ways, like I started, out of the RTC, so, and the Board of Selectmen for the second time said, get the thumbs up from the RTC, before we consider you, and then the last couple of times that hasn't happened. So,
Right,
it's
I
kind of
refer
up
to
to
the
the,
selectmen.
I think it's up to selectmen how they want to run the railroad.
Yeah.
So that's my experience, so I can't speak for them, how they're planning to do it. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we want them to fill those vacancies?
I think, I haven't talked about it, in a while, but for a long time, yeah, I made a point, I said it would be great if we could have 5 regular members and 3 alternates, that would simply be awesome.
Okay. Well, I'll bug them then.
I think it's a matter of getting people that want to do it. I know
Well,
some people have
we
been
can ask
inquiring.
someone at the
Come on, Dave. Yeah.
Brookfield Democrat, whatever they,
Mhm.
committee,
Yeah,
if they have people that wanna do it. And I'll bug the selectmen.
here you go. Alrighty, so we have one item, that was one part of our informal discussion. The next is 172 Long Meadow Hill Road, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Road?
Yes.
David Cole, 192 Whiskey Road, Brookfield.
So, and Dave, grab a seat or wherever you're comfortable. So, I went to refresh myself on this plan from, God, I thought it was 2 years ago, but it wasn't, it was last May.
No, he was before us in November too, for informal discussion.
Yeah, well, Dave was here, yeah, but, you know, we, so anyways, I have the plan, I went through, this is a little bit, now what have I done? Okay. So I was kind of trying to refresh my memory on this one. This was one of these ones, I said it was, so I got the minutes, and you may know this, but just wherever, it started in April, and I've forgotten this part. This had to be subdivided.
Right, the subdivision had to go through planning.
Yeah, so this was a part of the subdivision approval input to their process. So like I said, they're crossing wetlands. I think that was one of the reasons I figured we could probably do this, because they're essentially just crossing wetlands, although there's a little corollary to that.
I believe the issue was method of crossing wetlands.
Yeah, and the method, yeah, like I said, and we talked about it, like I said, the best practices, everything that I have read is the best practices, is things like open bottom culverts. So that was just a little bit of background on it, so
I
then.
wasn't involved in the whole thing.
I know
so-
you were not.
Or else it probably wouldn't have gone the way it did,
Okay.
But, what I'm trying to do is help the guy along to try to get this done. I mean, I can't build it the way that's on there, cause there's no, grading rights to go onto the other property. There's a retaining wall all the way along the property line that has to be built, and you actually have to dig down and put a foundation in for that. So it's not something that, their plan just says put a blasting mat down, drive across here, put the machine on this side, then pick the blasting mat up and build the whole thing before you do anything up here. It's physically impossible to do it. I don't know how you can get, you gotta dig all that fill out of there, remove it out of the way, pour a footing in there to set the wall on, or if it's a stack wall, you gotta put stone down to put the stack wall up, and then the stack wall has to have a geomat that goes back into the ground, and it has to be compacted for that not to fall over. So you have to get a roller in there and compact the soils. You have to have compactable soils to build it all. And it seems to me that there was an easier, and not easier, but a better way to do it would be less intrusive on the wetlands. So that's why, this is what I'm looking at doing, and
Just one thing too, I noticed on the plan, like, one of the things they did not have, which we were okay with, is that the bridge had to be designed by a professional engineer.
Right.
Do
When I
you,
went to the engineer said the bridge really has to be 60 feet long. When he was looking at it, instead of 20 feet, he wanted to stretch it way out to be able to get it built correctly. When you build a bridge, you have to, again, dig footings underneath
Right.
it, set a wall up on it.
Yeah.
And then you actually have to get underneath there and form a, platform to actually pour the bridge on top of, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like you can just pick something up and drop it there. It has to be all built on site, so you have to be able to get underneath that structure, build a frame to pour your concrete bridge on top to go over,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how I can do what they said on that plan, because I have to be able to go back and forth with material on the other side of that brook to get the whole thing built.
okay, well, one thing, we just go back to what you said. The guys told you that they did have a PE take a look at this?
Evan Archer started looking at it.
And he
I
wants
asked
the
him
bridge to
stop
be
it.
60 feet
And he
long?
recommended that the bridge get made longer so it could be built easier on site, get out of the wetlands. I assume he didn't, I told him to stop and not do any more on the bridge, because
Okay.
this kid's not gonna be able to afford a 60-foot long bridge to,
It's a
just crazy.
challenging, it's a challenging piece.
challenging
It's a
project,
challenging property.
But it doesn't have to be, because I
Okay.
think I came up with an alternative
Okay.
that, everything I've read, that yes, you want a bridge open underneath if there's fish to go through, like that stuff, There's no fish in this instance. It's an intermittent stream that comes down once in a while from that pond that's up top.
Yeah, it even isn't as much the fish, it's just
Right.
natural flow of water, but
Right,
keep going,
but-
yeah.
But I can actually keep your natural flow of water going by doing an alternative method to that bridge, not going up as high, not having to have an 8-foot retaining wall on the side, which animals won't go through. They won't go up a 90-degree wall and go over top if they want to. They're not gonna be able to. So what I was hoping to do, what I think would be a better alternative to do,
Can you just help me out with one thing, 'cause I know you talked about the wall, and I guess I totally That's
put my
this,
glasses
that's
on.
this, that's this stuff?
Yeah, there's a retaining wall that goes,
This thing?
yeah, it says, the top of wall, bottom of wall right here, so what is
Oh.
the difference there? The top of wall, bottom wall is 8 foot high here. How can you build an 8 foot high wall a foot from the property line?
And that's just so they can get the grade the way
Right,
they want it?
because, you know, the bridge, you have to be able to get underneath it and build it, and this is only 30 inches
Okay.
off. So then I looked at box culverts. Well, let me go over to what I think.
Yeah, show me what you think, yeah.
I made a couple copies, so I didn't know how many people were gonna be here. So this is what I would like to informally propose and see what you guys think about it, because I don't wanna spend money on the engineer doing it and having you guys look at it and say, no, we're not gonna like that or whatever. What I'd like to do is come away from the property line a little bit, and I redesign where the house goes, so the house can actually be 3 feet lower than they had it. So by being 3 feet lower up here, I can come down with a better grade and actually culvert across here. So I'm only coming up, you know, slightly above original contours here to make this all work. And now I can grade down here. I don't need a retaining wall on this side. So I'm actually not much wider than they are with their wetlands disturbance.
Are you still talking about an 18-foot driveway?
No, because I'm gonna go back to planning and said, the reason why planning wanted an 18-foot all here is because when you get out of the truck, if it's only 12 feet wide and you have an 8-foot drop there, you can't even walk by the truck safely. So they wanted that wide, but planning usually requires 18 feet paving right to this property line.
Okay.
Then it can be 12 feet from there. So if I can go back to planning and say, we're gonna do a culvert and we can make this, you know, not as high, and now you can walk on either side of the driveway, you don't have to have it 18 feet wide to be able to walk by it. I used to do fire department reviews for 20 years for the fire department, and that's the only reason why, if, like I say, if you park a fire truck here and there's just an 8-foot drop on the side, you've gotta have it wide enough to be able to work around the truck and stuff. But if I can walk around the driveway, cause it's graded there now, instead of having an 8-foot drop, it works fine. You can do a 12-foot driveway here. So I can lose 6 feet in my driveway width and bring this disturbance to exactly almost what they had on their plan. I'm gonna pull the well down a little bit and a little bit closer to the road here, so I can actually drill the well without having to fill this whole wetlands. The way they have it now, for me to drill the well, I gotta fill this whole area in, because I can't set the well rig up on a 45-degree slope here.
Well,
It's not
I understand
possible.
you can't, but go ahead, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
nobody can set a well rig up.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of well rig it is to set up there, but, you know, the other thing was they put a stipulation that no work on the house will be done until the whole common driveway is completed.
Right, and the reason for that was solely because we wanted to not have trucks just be driving through this wetland
Correct.
without protection.
No, I understand that.
That was the background
but,
on
yeah,
that.
I can understand why that's there, but, you know, if this is finished all the way here, paved 18 feet here, and this is already a slope off that driveway, this has to be filled in to set a well rig here to drill that well. If I can do it now, where I actually do a crossing here, and I don't actually fill this in yet, I drill the well as soon as I get across here, set the well rig up and drill the well, I don't have to set up on top of a slope and drill that well, you know what I'm saying?
So essentially, you're just talking about you can lower the elevation
Lower the
of-
elevation,
of
do a
that driveway,
culvert
which is a
crossing.
bonus.
Yep.
That is a bonus. You think there's possibilities that we can reduce the width of that?
I'll go back to the plan and say, we're gonna do a, you know,
And you're talking about when you say culvert, are you talking about a pipe?
a pipe, a culvert. I looked at box culverts. The problem with box culverts is, this is from Connecticut precast. The inside is 4 feet high. Then you have to add this in the bottom, so that's, it's another 16 inches. So you're ending up 5'4" before you even put the driveway on top of it. So now I'm gonna be at least 6.5, 7 feet out of the ground. And then again, I can't fill against the box culvert, so you have 2 drops off either side. So I'm still gonna have to make it wider for the fire department to get around the truck. But if I can do a box culvert, and one of the other guys said, we'll find something from the state that says that that's what they do. So I got this from the state website. Now, this is for stream crossings when they're doing logging.
Right.
This isn't logging.
This isn't logging, and
But-
this is more
but this is-
temporary.
But this is, again, what I would propose to do in this situation, to be able to walk across here, to have the slopes on the side, and, you know, if we actually fill this whole bottom here with actual, a gravel bed here, we put right on top of the wetlands there, I can put a, stabilization mat, so it keeps the wetland soil as we're supposed to do, but lets the water flow through the rock that's under here, the whole thing will freely drain underneath the driveway and still introduce that water right into the wetlands where it's supposed to be. If you won't do something like this, I have to do something like this just to be able to build the bridge. And then this would all have to be removed, which is gonna be a huge mess. Maybe I'm not a smart enough guy to do it, but I just don't understand how you can build an 8-foot high retaining wall 1 foot from the property line and not go back and forth with the material over the wetlands. It's not possible.
Well, I hear what you're
You
saying.
guys weren't responsible to find out
We're
if it's
not-
possible
we're not
to build it.
responsible for
It's not-
implementation.
Right, you know, but at the same time, and I don't blame the homeowner, he has no idea what he's doing, and I don't really blame the engineer, cause he was trying to get it approved for the guy, but now I'm the guy that's gotta say, well, how can I do this, and I don't, to me, the least invasive way is to pipe this across here and do a culvert crossing, get it all completed.
And you're saying
make it
you
narrower.
need the culvert because that keeps your elevations
Keeps my
lower?
elevation lower, and I can put it all in from this side. I don't have to get from the side to do anything.
How do we know, how would you size the culvert?
The engineer would size the culvert. I'm not saying that I would, you know, and I would probably do a safety factor. If he came up with a 18-inch pipe, I would probably put 2 18-inch pipes in, just so there's a safety factor there in the whole thing. I'm not looking to make this as cheap as possible, and I wanna make sure I put something in there that's gonna last forever, does not disturb the wetlands, and makes it so I can actually build this thing without tearing this whole site up. You know, I mean, what I'm saying, Sharon, is if I can come from this side and just build the whole thing right over the driveway without having to go around anything and not disturb any of this wetland area or this wetland area, where it's 100% better. Maybe I'm not seeing something, but I can't see how it's any better. If this is sloped banks up here, like I've had turtles on jobs that'll go up 20 foot high on my topsoil piles and lay eggs in the topsoil.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's much easier for them to go up a slope than it is to have an 8-foot high retaining wall on one side, and they're not going through that. You know, they're gonna try to find I don't know, I just think it's a better solution for the whole property.
Did this go through wetlands a couple of years ago?
No, it's just last
Spring.
Oh, it was last spring, and
I don't think it got finally approved until the fall or something like that.
No, it was May 13th,
May 13th?
yeah.
so do you remember what the, what was approved?
Yeah, right here,
Yeah, it is, yeah, we have the approved plan.
yeah. So,
It
I'll
says
make
that the bridge would be made, you know, designed by a structural engineer, and that the whole project would.
and this is wetlands and there's a stream here,
It's an
right?
intermittent stream,
There's intermittent
correct.
water course.
Intermittent
This is
water
what's
course.
making me not excited about the culvert,
Uh-huh.
about the pipe culvert.
Uh-huh.
That's what's making me not excited. Like I said, because, and I appreciate, like I said, they do that, you know, like for woodland crossings, and here I'm reading about, this is from Rhode Island. They talk about pipe culvert crossings, driveway construction that traverses wetlands is one of the most common types of proposed crossings. That skirts the edge of a piece of property across a wetland. A proposed pipe culvert channels the water from an area subject to storm flow underneath the new driveway. A culvert of this type is sufficient for crossings because the area is not consistently wet. And so that's their view of, you know, best practices.
That's
for
what I mean, this is not a stream
pipe.
that runs all the time. This is like, I just think it's the least invasive way to go across this wetlands. And if, like I say, if I put the mat down here and then I put a 10-inch base of stone underneath that mat, the whole thing can sheet right underneath the driveway. It doesn't wash anything out, but it can slowly go right through that stone and go down through the mat into the wetland soil below it. Nothing's being disturbed there.
I am thrilled that you have found a way to reduce the elevation on this driveway. I'm thrilled.
But I can't do it with a box culvert, and I can't do it with a bridge. That's the problem. I even looked at like arch culverts, but even arch culverts have to have a foundation put on either side, and then they require riprap to be put underneath them. So the wetland soil really have to be taken out from underneath the culverts, because you have to put material in there that won't wash out in a heavy storm. And if you do, you know, a 30-inch arch, you can't physically get under there later on you're not gonna crawl in there on your belly to do something. And that's why they make these box culverts for you here, because you actually have to get inside and bolt them together. you know, each section bolts together with a gasket, so you actually physically have to get inside there and connect them inside of it, so they're not gonna make them 2 feet high, cause you can't connect them, you know what I mean? And no engineer has looked at this, I just know that I've done it many times before, you know, going through the, you know, over a wetland crossing, and like I did one at, what's the name of the road now, here in Brookfield, it didn't have a pipe in it, but it was a wetland crossing, we used the mat, and then we put a stone down, another mat on top of it, and the driveway's there, and it's beautiful wetlands on both sides of the driveway, like 4 feet from the driveway, and then you go in and it's very, there's not been any obtrusive, you know, thing to the wetlands. It's off of Pocono. I did it for Jeff Solinger, one of the cops, about 25 years ago.
So what's the height you're looking to
I'm
limit?
trying to be
limit
like
to?
4 feet at the most.
4 feet.
At the, you know, instead of the 6 to 8 feet that they have. you
Yeah,
know?
cause this is it's a gulch, they gotta
Yeah.
go, there's a gully here.
Well, the biggest problem is that you have to have the driveway grades coming up here, and, you know, when they were showing this, they were cutting a lot of this fill out of here, and like I say, they're up at, I think they're at 69 here, or whatever, it's upside down, but I'm like 3 feet lower than what they are there. I'm making their septic shorter with S-box system here, and I can do a retention system right, you know, shorter, and then bring this driveway down and away from the line a little bit, and still not have any more, you know, not come really out of where their disturbance is gonna be anyways. You know, dig footings for the bridge, I have to be over here to dig footings sideways and actually pour it, and then I have to dig this all out and pour the retaining wall here. If it's a concrete wall, I can pour a retaining wall, but I have to go down 42 inches below frost, and the footing for that retaining wall has to be 4 to 5, 6 feet wide, so the retaining wall doesn't flip over. And again, if you wanna do the stacked walls, you can do them, but they need that geomat that goes back usually like 12 feet, and you have to bring, you know, compactable soil in and compact it with a roller to make it so it doesn't fall over.
Did you
I
get
think
it-
that's why the engineer was trying to, the structural guy was saying, make the bridge longer so you don't have to have so much of the retaining wall work done, you know?
Did you have a chance to talk to him about this, or I said, I'm not an engineer, we don't
No,
normally
I
see
will-
bridges
I
because
just
they're.
wanna make sure you guys were open to it. If you were like, no, we gotta do it, you know, absolutely not. But it just seems like it makes a lot of sense to me, and so I'll sit down with the engineer, make sure he thinks everything works together, and come back and present it to you as a project. But if you're gonna be like, and I can understand your concern about the pipe, but there is no fish here. It's not.
It's not about fish,
Right.
it is, I mean, fish is an important aspect to it, it's not all about fish, it's
Right.
just, like I said, and I appreciate you bringing this too,
Right.
cause I read a couple of them as well. It's,
was
like I
all over
said,
the
it's
place.
it's trying to maintain, even though it's an intermittent water
Right.
course, although don't take
No,
this the
I
wrong
understand.
way, I don't remember if it's an intermittent or a regular, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
I guess it's in there. It's just, you try and maintain an open bottom, try and maintain
Right.
that natural, the natural base for that water to flow.
I guess what I'm saying is, if I put that mat down on top of the original soil that's there, and then I put a 10-inch base of stone that actually can have water flow through it from the upland, wetland, and then put another mat on top of that so no dirt can go down into that soil, that's actually a whole grid underneath that whole wetlands that lets the water seep into that area and not change the way the water went into there.
So the water would be flowing through the stone primarily instead of the pipe. instead
Yeah,
of the
which is,
storm water.
again, it's not the natural,
Right.
it's not, these are temporary kinds of things. And, you know, there are stories which happened in that August rain of culverts that got
The bridge is
overrun.
washed out too, though,
And,
you know?
yeah, and they,
I mean-
but there was more damage with culverts than there was
No,
that.
just there was damage everywhere. and
There was
that's, you
damage
know,
everywhere, I'm
And
not,
that's why I say maybe I'll put 2 pipes in. If he says I need an 18-inch, maybe I'll put, 2 18-inch in or something, cause like, I'm doing an addition on a church right now, and I have the engineers figure the trusses out for 24 on center, but then I buy them 16 on center, cause that's my, little peace of mind where I don't have to worry about the roof taking a big snow load because it's over-engineered,
okay. The reason we're talking about a bridge and not, like I said, what I know, because we don't normally see bridges because they're
Right.
too expensive. I think there's only one like Oak Meadows or something. I think they ended
I
up
can
with a
understand if it was a
bridge.
huge commercial project and you had to get a 26-foot wide road through there, I mean, that's a little different, but then you're gonna have equipment, you know,
How do we know there's not another product out there, Dave, that you are, I'm not aware of and you're not
Oh,
aware of and
gosh.
no one here is aware of that can't handle this smaller elevation
I've been
for
looking
you?
everywhere, like I say, there's an open culvert, even, some of the septic guys make a culvert that goes over it, and then you have to have a concrete on either side wall of it. But again, you have to take the stream bed out and put riprap under there and make it so it doesn't wash out. So now it's changing all that wetland soil down there to a compactable base with riprap underneath there, cause you can't let it wash out underneath the thing, and, you know, if you're talking only a little 3-foot arch, that's gonna wash out more than a pipe that's sealed up and can't wash out the bottom, you know?
So Sharon, were you thinking like an open bottom culvert as opposed to a box, right? Is that what you originally?
Yeah, again, I'm not, I know there's lots of
Yeah.
choices and culverts and all, what I said, the best practice is for a
Natural
permanent
flow.
crossing is to keep what nature has at the bottom and not put a mat down and not put gravel down on top of wetland soils or into a watercourse stream bed. The best practice is to go over it and leave the wetland and leave the watercourse as is.
But you're
That's
gonna-
best practice.
You're gonna have to dig up on either side to put the footings in.
Well, you always do. You always do.
But what I'm saying is, if you do a bridge here, you have to take, and it even says right underneath there, underneath the bridge the soils get removed and riprap gets put in there. So it changes the soil, it changes the stream bed as you're talking about. It's right in the notes there that you actually have to remove the soils and there's riprap in there. I don't know exactly where it is, but,
Yeah, there was some riprap to the side of the structure. I don't remember that. I don't see, Dave,
Yeah,
where it was gonna
I-
be on the bottom. I don't see
I don't
that.
know where it was, but it was supposed to be, yeah, right here, place modified riprap between abutment and edge of stream. So this whole thing on the side here is all gonna be riprap. Right here, place modified riprap between abutment and edge of stream.
Well, that was a miss on our side then.
That's
That's
all,
I
but what I'm
understand-
saying,
I
Sharon, all
understand.
this soil has to come out of here, cause you have to put a footing down that far, and then it all has to be filled back in with something that's not gonna wash out.
Well, then that was a miss on our
No,
part.
I'm not
Yeah,
saying
no, no, no,
that,
then it
and
was a miss on our
I'm not
part.
being critical about
Yeah,
anything.
no, I get it, yeah.
I'm just trying to come up with the best solution for this project, and I just, the only other way to do this is to put what I'm talking in, put the pipe across here, put a road in here, a temporary road, build this whole thing, and then remove this whole thing and take it out. Cause that's the only way I know of to build it. I gotta have access to both sides, and if that's the case, I'm sure he's not gonna do it, there's no way he's gonna be able to afford it, you know? But it's gonna make a hell of a mess of the wetlands that are here.
Well, I don't know necessarily you'd get approval to do that, but
No,
I get your point, yeah,
Right.
I get your point. So who's the engineer?
Crucial Cobalt. Are you guys open if I take it to him and see what we can do for a pipe crossing under there? And at the same time, I'll ask him if there's any way I could do an open culvert
Well,
and
that's,
make it work?
that's where I'm going, you
Uh-huh.
know, see if, again, maybe there's something that neither of us, any of us knows,
But did,
right?
you know what I'm saying, any bridge I do though, the soil's gotta be removed to put the footings in.
Yeah, I know, I get that, yeah,
So
I
it's
get
all
that.
gonna be, but I guess, Sharon, what I'm saying is you're thinking that the stream bed shouldn't be disturbed which is, it's great thinking, but it doesn't work in this situation because it's not a 40-foot bridge where you're away from the wetlands and you're actually putting the abutment on either side and you're spanning away from the wetlands. These wetlands have to be dug out to be able to put a bridge in there, and they have to be, and compacted soil has to be put back in there. So soil that you can compact, it can't be wetland soil to put back in there because you can't compact it.
I cannot tell you how many hours
Uh,
we talked about this.
I'm sure.
You know,
I
it
wish I
was,
was here because
I
would've
wish
at
you
least
were
been able
too.
to say, I can't build this way.
Yeah, I wish
we
you
gotta
were
come up with
too.
something
This
else,
one
you
was a
know?
long, drawn
And
out.
I'm not making, I'm
I
trying
know
not
you're
to
not.
make it any worse, you know. I mean, I spent a lot of time just trying to redesign this and
Yeah.
a different type of a house and lower, and like I say, and, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know, that's. I mean, do you have a problem moving away from the property line?
no, I
Trying to
think
come up
that,
with a
no,
solution?
that is, I think that's fine. I think moving away from the property line is fine. I think it's the, it's the total impact to the wetlands, whether it's right here or whether it's over here. I think I could be neutral on that.
Right. I mean, if I can go to the planning commission and have it made 6 feet narrower, but I can't, I'm not gonna be able to have drops off the side of the driveway that are straight down. I'm gonna have to be able to say you can walk along the driveway, so we don't have to go 18 feet wide, we can only go 12 feet wide with the actual driveway itself.
Yeah, and that's a bonus too.
Right,
Right?
but I can't do that with a box culvert, and I can't do that with a bridge, because it'd have to be wide enough to be able to walk by something. I'm really not trying to push anything.
No, I know
on you
you're
guys.
not. I know you're not.
You know, they make elliptical culverts, where the flat is bottom,
Yeah,
and then the top is curved.
yeah.
But there's still a bottom to it. I could put elliptical pipe in there if you think that would be better for something to crawl through, you know, but it still has a sealed up bottom, so it doesn't wash out, you know, I mean, the pipe itself, which, it's like an egg-shaped pipe, you know, they actually crush the pipe, make it flat on the bottom.
Yeah.
But it's still a culvert, you know. Believe me, I've been trying, I've been sitting on the internet looking at stuff all over the place, and everything I read says, fish, go to bridge, go to, you know, do something different if there's fish. If there isn't, I've seen this as an acceptable method to go across.
Well, and I
Right,
appreciate that,
yeah.
but what I have seen, I said we could do culverts if it's just plain wetland soils and there's not a water course.
Mhm.
It's the water course that's got me,
Mhm.
it's got me stumbling here,
Yeah.
okay? Well, it's a very challenging property.
Mhm.
I mean, and I think that was very clear when we first saw it. It is not an easy, it's not an easy project to figure out a way to get across these wetlands and across this water course, again, given the topology. Like I said, it is a little bit,
Yeah.
I don't
If
even
it
know if we
wasn't
ever
so
had.
high over here, it wouldn't be a problem, but you have to get up for driveway grades. You can't have a 15 or 18% driveway going up there.
Right, and it goes up pretty steep,
Yeah.
right? Because it starts here at 490 and there's 8 feet, and then I guess it goes steep after that,
Yeah.
so it was pretty flat
It's
here
not too
and then it
bad
goes
in
up.
here. It's just
Yeah.
up here, so if you can't get the house low enough, which I've been able to, like I say, lower the house 3 feet. The garage is gonna be here, and you're actually gonna go 2 feet up into the basement of the house. I did a subdivision up in Cedar Knolls. We kinda did the same thing, set the garage lower.
Yeah,
And then came up, so it sat into the bank a little bit better.
yeah.
I hate it when you see a house that doesn't really look like it belongs where it was built. So trying to make it all fit in there, I really don't see why we gotta do an 18-foot past here if we can do 12-foot and stop it, you know, at the property line where it's supposed to be. So, that's where I'm at. I can go see the engineer if you guys are open-minded about it, and, you know, if we can try to come up with anything different that he can think of.
Well, yeah, obviously, well, I guess that's up to you guys. We know what you want to do. I'm not excited about the culverts. I am open, to listening to an engineer. I am open to understanding, is there anything we can do to reduce? Is there anything here that we can do to reduce the impact maybe with these culverts? I appreciate the lower driveway, or the narrower driveway. I would appreciate, an even look by the engineer, is there some other product out there that we don't know about?
Right.
Right, that can give you the elevations that make these definite improvements? An honest look at that. I'm open to that. I am open to moving this way.
It's just just so you know, there's no way for me to do a culvert or a bridge here without having, at least a 6-foot drop or a 5 or 6 foot drop there, so I'd still have to be 18 feet wide. So we're still gonna be the width, you know what I'm saying? If we wanna try to get it narrower and not have as much of an impact and have the driveway only 12 feet wide up top, you know, we're almost stuck with a culvert to go across it.
Okay, well, I'm open to take a look at it.
Okay.
If he wants to make that investment, I'm open to look at it. I'd like to see, I think the one thing that we don't have, Dave, is a real, if someone could draw, you know, we have this little profile
Yeah.
here, but, I mean, I think this is
Well, I don't think they'll
pretty,
draw it
I don't
until
think
the-
this is accurate.
Right, I don't think they'll draw it until the engineer actually designs a bridge to go across there.
Okay, well, I mean, I would just like to have a better understanding of the profile of, I guess I haven't been out there either, not that I guess it would
Right.
make that much difference. But I would like to see an accurate profile of your culvert
Uh-huh.
proposal.
Uh-huh.
And again, if this engineer can take an honest look at what can we do to try and keep something there that keeps that
Sure.
open bottom,
Mhm.
I will definitely look at it,
Yeah,
okay?
that's all I'm asking, you know,
Yeah.
I don't see any
And,
other.
and I'm
room
willing
do
to look at the culvert if you can, if, again, because you understand this way better than I do, okay? With the elevations and the changes and
yeah.
whatever, if there's anything we can do to reduce that crossing and reduce that
Right.
impact,
Mhm.
why wouldn't we look at it?
That's why,
Okay.
that's why I feel, that's why I'm here. I
All
mean,
right.
because I could've just gone out and started tearing this apart and say, well, that's what's approved, this is what I gotta do to do it. I'm not gonna do that, cause I'm not gonna go out there and tear it apart and make a mess and then, you know, it's just not the way I do things, you know, so.
This is, this is all woods here, right?
Yeah, it's all wooded, the tree line you can see is like, I don't know, the tree line's shown on here someplace.
Can a mere mortal park someplace and walk here, like if I wanted to
Sure.
get back there?
Yeah, or if you're gonna go out, let me know, I'll go out and walk with you, you know, and, I mean, that'd be no problem, you know.
Okay, I don't know if I don't, since you're not the property owner and I don't have anything specifically
I
that
have a
you.
thing from saying him that I can, act as agent, I gave
Oh,
it
you-
to the land use officer.
Okay, I think, oh, okay.
I gave him a thing saying, is. the
Oh,
property
they
owner
did
signed up
mention
as
that,
being
and I
an
forgot
agent,
that,
yeah.
so there, you have an agents, okay. Well, I might take you up on that.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna try and get out there. If the weather is not if the weather's decent on Friday, I may try and get out there Friday.
Just,
Friday
you know,
morning.
give me a heads up, cause like I said, I'm working at the church, and hopefully I can just run over and meet you there at a certain
Yeah,
time.
and so I
Sure.
encourage, both of you,
Is there a partial driveway there, or are you walking in off the
No,
road?
there's a driveway here for the
there's a
house.
paved driveway for
Yeah.
the house,
So you
and then
gotta-
you gotta
Yeah.
hoof it
You
through
gotta
the
walk
woods.
down into the woods, yeah,
Yeah, you gotta walk through the woods. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try and get out there Friday morning,
okay,
maybe around 10-ish. So we can't have 3 of us there, cause then there's a meeting.
okay.
Oh, yes.
Or we could have 2 of us there,
Mhm.
or you guys could go together.
Why don't we just do that, we'll meet and see what you think about the actual crossing spot. and-
Only that would just help me with
Yeah.
better
Have you actually
understanding.
seen it before, or no?
No,
Okay, so let's go look at it, cause I think once you look at it, it
What
might
time
make a
you
little
say?
more sense, you know?
I'm gonna get out there probably Friday around 10. Like I said, there can only be 2 of us.
Yeah,
We
if
can
you
have
wanna-
as many of
if you
him as
wanna-
we want, but
I'll be at work.
You'll be arriving at doctor's appointment at
Okay.
11, so.
you wanna go 9 o'clock, or you wanna go later?
We can either or.
You wanna go later, like 1ish?
We could potentially do that, yeah.
All right, let's
I'll
potentially.
give you my cell number, and, just let me know what time you're gonna be there.
Okay, and all I wanna get out of it is, cause like I said, I'm not an engineer, all I wanna get out of it is just a visual understanding of how deep that gulch is.
Yep.
Let's call it a gulch if it is, I mean, I can see it goes from 492 and then there's, or whatever, it's
It's actually the-
400 and then it drops, I don't understand all the details in here.
Right, you can actually just see it at the,
I can, yeah, I can see it goes this way, but
Right,
how
it's-
it goes that way
yeah,
would be good to
yeah.
see. How it goes that way would be good to see, so let's talk about
of course,
Friday
the
at
owner tells me it dries up and it's wet and then it dries up and, you know, but,
Well, I'm gonna read the, the wetlands report too, again,
Yeah.
but whether it's intermittent or it's
right, I mean, the water runs there at some
continuous, it
point.
doesn't matter, the
Right.
water runs,
Right.
so it's a water course. So what did we say, Friday at 1?
Friday at 1.
Friday at 1,
I mean, if you wanna do 9, we could do 9, like, I'll do either.
Might rain Friday afternoon, so you wanna try to do it in the morning?
Wanna do it 9 o'clock instead then?
9 o'clock, okay,
Friday,
so
9
9
o'clock.
o'clock
Just
Friday,
change it to 9. Heck, I could almost walk there from my house.
okay. And then I said, I'm willing to look at it, Dave, I
Okay.
said both things. but I would, again, we'll see a profile and then
If we go
we'll
out there
see it.
Friday and you kinda think that this might be the, you know,
I'm not I'm
know
not
you're not
excited
excited,
about it. I am
right.
very unexcited about
Okay.
it.
and I'm not expecting you to get more excited on Friday, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying if you think that it might make sense to kinda go this route and keep it lower than,
Well, again,
Well,
if we
get
can,
the engineer involved.
if we can make it less impact on the wetlands
Right.
when all is said and done, because here, you know, I acknowledge they had to dig and that's
Right.
not good, and I guess I missed the gravel, which is not a good thing. And we were gonna lose 400 square feet of wetlands, which I think they were gonna try and replace someplace, I thought,
No, there was
although
no
then I
replacement.
remember there was no,
There wasn't
there were
this
no
one.
room,
Because
that
there's a
didn't
crossing.
work. So if we can come up with something that's less impact to the wetlands than that, then I wanna look at it,
yeah.
okay?
I wish I could remember, what road comes off of, Pocono Ridge Road, Pocono Road, yeah, Pocono Ridge Road comes up, what is it called?
Do we need maps?
Cause I did one years ago, and you go in and the driveway turns right and just goes, and you can actually see that there's wetlands on both sides of it, and we put just to see how small of an impact it is to have the driveway go through, and that one just has mats in it. It doesn't have a pipe going across, it has mat with stone, so the water can flow underneath the driveway back and forth. And to me, it looks like there's nothing all going on with the wetlands, except the driveway going across the top. You know what I mean? And that's what would be ideal in this situation, I think, but, you know,
You got Willow Run.
Willow Run. If you go all the way out to Willow Run, if you come all the way out to Willow Run,
No, I've seen them. I don't know, I don't remember approving that one, but
it was
maybe I
a
did.
long time ago, you weren't on
Oh,
wetlands
okay,
back then.
wasn't there?
Yeah.
Oh,
But,
good, so that
yeah.
I don't remember it is a good thing.
There was a 90-degree turn right when we got off the cul-de-sac,
Okay.
and you had to go 90 degrees over to the house site.
Mhm.
And that's what we did, we laid mat down, we put a heavy stone on that, and we put another mat on top of it, so the water could evenly flow underneath the driveway on either side. And it was a very unobtrusive crossing to that wetland, which today looks just like it did before we went through there, you know, on either side of the driveway, you know?
Hmm.
But
It's not showing up in any of the articles that I have.
But sometimes seeing it is believing it, kind of, you know, where it could be the same on both sides. There's not even a pipe there, it's just the water that can actually flow freely underneath the driveway to both sides, you
Yeah.
know? I don't know. I don't know if it
All
matters or
right,
not,
well,
but-
like I said, we'll go get a visual of how deep this gulch is Friday at 9.
9.
Friday night, I'll be there.
Well, I'm willing to look at anything that shows
Okay.
less impact on the wetlands. Let me just leave it at that.
Yeah, I just don't want him to spend a whole bunch of money on an engineer, come in here and then say, no, we're not gonna do it, and, you know, not that I'm not saying you could, you know,
Yeah,
have
no,
to
I
say
get it.
yes to what the guy says, but, you know, what I mean, he spent a lot of money already, and it's just,
It's a tough property.
yeah, it is, and I don't like spending my money or your money or his money, so, you know.
Yep, well, that is the price that you pay for developing tough properties.
but at some
All right.
point, You know,
All right, thanks, Dave.
well, it's before 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay, we did that, informal, anything else, informal discussion?
Have a good night.
All right, thanks, Dave, take care.
You guys have a good night.
All right, well, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I made the motion, Tom seconds, there's no discussion on an adjournment motion, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carries unanimous, we are adjourned. Put this back in here.
In my 2 minutes of Google research, I found a couple of companies that make custom open bottom culverts.
Yeah.
So you could do, you know, however wide the gully is, 3/4.
Wait,